(1992) Joe Weider's Ms Olympia in Chicago, Illinois. Hi everyone, Sharon Bruneau here, and I know this video has probably been floating around the internet for some time, but I wanted to bring it here to my YouTube channel and share it with my followers. Give you a little bit of backstory. It was commentated that year by the fabulous Ms Olympia herself, Cory Everson, and the most wonderful Joe Fowler that we all so love. They did a great job. And on that stage with the best in the world, I couldn't have been happier and more blessed. My stats, though, says that I'm 5'7" at 154 pounds. Even Cory commented saying, I didn't realize she's that big. I was only 145 or whatever she said. Well, that was way off. I'm 5'9", and for that show, I was about 142, only because I over-depleted, I overworked, I was flat and watery and just over-anxious for this fabulous opportunity to be standing on that stage with the best in the entire world. It's a good thing when a champion can keep that focus and trust their gut and their instinct and go back and claim that title year after year. I mean, so much respect for Lenda Murray, Cory Everson, Vicky Gates that have done that with ease, it seems. I know it's hard work. And myself, I just wish I had a team to keep me together because I imploded each year. Just didn't trust myself, as I did with the North Americans. Anyway, when I trained with Charles Glass, we fixed that. Never won a Ms Olympia, but it was such an honor to be on that stage. Also, I just wanted to shout out that in my testimony, I said that, you know, I got this far with my shape and symmetry thanks to my dad. And the only reason why I just said dad instead of mom and dad or my mom, which they were both gorgeous for any of those who have met my parents or seen photos of them, I mentioned my dad because I have a picture of him doing a side tricep without a shirt on when he was a very young man in the Canadian Army, and we just had similar lines. So that's why it came in my head during the time I was giving my interviews. So anyway, Mom, you're gorgeous too. I love you. Anyway, enjoy the entire show here, and what grand memories, and I'd do it all over again. Well, maybe not the depleting and over, you get what I mean. Anyway, keep flexing, enjoy, and I'll be back with more. Peace out.
Vying for bodybuilding's most prestigious crown, the IFBB Ms Olympia. Will it be Ms Olympia as we know it? Or are the rumors true? Will the title be redefined tonight? Last year's winner, Lenda Murray, she's returned and she's gone for her third straight victory. She's got a posing routine unparalleled in this sport. Germany's Anja Schreiner, her model-like looks, her sleek physique, she's a favorite, and she knows it. Laura Creavalle, she left the madness of Muscle Beach to intensify her training in the solace of New England. Will this be her moment? And veteran bodybuilder Diana Dennis at 41, the envy of athletes half her age, her posing, her style, it'll win her big scores. Shelley Beattie, 7th place last year, with another year under her belt. Beattie is interested in top 5 only, nothing less will do. And Sharon Bruneau, with her beautiful looks, stunning physique, she'll be trying tonight to impress the judges. Is her look worthy of the Ms Olympia title? From the Arie Crown Theater in Chicago, Illinois, the 1992 IFBB Ms Olympia is underway. Hi again, everybody. I'm Joe Fowler, and I am privileged to have my broadcast buddy back with me, a lady who dominated this competition for so many years. 6-time Mizzo. There's so many things I can say before I mention your name. Cory Everson, welcome.
Thank you. I like the broadcast buddy name.
Have you been trying to lay low?
Very low.
I knew you'd come back. This is such a big event, Cory. I can't wait for the competition to get started down there, mostly because we're hearing all these rumors. You know, the judging is being redefined, and not only just in this event, but nationals, amateur events. What do you know? Tell us what you know about it.
I don't really think the judging is being redefined. I think that there's a re-emphasis on symmetry and proportion. The judging is still judged on symmetry, proportion, presentation, muscularity, but I think the re-emphasis on symmetry and proportion is really helping the athletes know how to train. The judges can only judge on what they see on stage.
Right.
And so if all the girls on stage are really muscular, the judges only have that to choose from. So I think what's happening is they're trying to say, hey girls, focus on symmetry and proportion, still be muscular, but really focus on symmetry and proportion.
I think we're getting that too. And I think that'll help out a Shelley Beattie, certainly Anja Schreiner,
Definitely.
Laura Creavalle.
Definitely.
So this is to their advantage.
Yes.
But then you've always got Lenda Murray, the defending champion.
But Lenda Murray has excellent proportion.
So she fits the package that
She
we're
does.
talking about.
Yeah.
Oh boy, setting the stage. Now when we talk about judging, you can't ignore the fact that you've got the pre-judging, which is very tedious, very difficult. You went through it how many times?
Many, many, many
More than
times.
used to
And it is extremely, so tiring. I mean, you're sore the next day like you wouldn't believe. And what you go through is you go through a symmetry round where they judge you in just a relaxed state.
And
they,
we're seeing some video of that right now.
yes, and they look at the right side of your body if it's equal to the left side. They see if your upper body proportion is equal to the lower body proportion.
So symmetry is vital.
And balance. And a lot of symmetry is from your genetics, what your mom and dad happen to give you as far as genetics goes. Then the other end that you can really do something about is your muscularity. And that encompasses both diet and nutrition to lose the body fat, but also the training to develop the muscle body so that you have something to show.
How long are these ladies that we're watching here standing in these positions?
Hours.
Hours.
Pre-judging goes on for hours. I'm telling you, it is so hard. You wouldn't be able to do it. He wouldn't be able to do it.
I never said I could, without a doubt. Now, people we're not going to see tonight. Bev Francis, and I think she's a victim of the fact that she realizes this is not where bodybuilding is, the thickness.
Plus, she just had hand surgery, and so she's probably sort of in a training down right now. And then Mario Salin won't be here. Carla Dunlap, Juliet Bergman, Anya Longer, myself. Fowler's not competing.
I've withdrawn. But we are going to see 20 of the best from 6 different countries going for over $100,000 in prize money. Don't you just love it? How the money has grown in this sport. We're going to start this competition. Let's get a sneak peek backstage. They're taking pictures of the athletes. They're pumping up. They are preparing. They're psyched up. I'm psyched up.
I'm psyched up too.
We're all pumped up. So when we come back, we'll start the 1992 Ms. Olympia. Start the parade of contestants.
You know, Joe, this is really exciting for me because I only recognize about 4 girls in the lineup. Everybody else is new to me.
How long have you been out of it?
Too long, since 1989. This is my first contest since 1989.
There's Sandy Riddell is going to be announced next, and I remember in 1989, she is the one who gave you a run for the money.
Yep, you remember very, very well.
But let us not forget, you won that.
Yeah, I squeaked by that one, that's for sure.
I think just judging from the first 2, they're a little softer.
Hey, Joe, you can't judge from the first 2.
Well, I can certainly take a look at Riddell and Sandra Blackie, veterans they've been at, and see a difference.
Right. Well, you know what? It's really hard to peak, your contest shape.
Here comes Yolanda Hughes next. We've seen her in the last few years.
I have been a big fan of hers for years. She's fantastic.
She sure is. I'm looking forward to her routine. She's lively.
But the hardest thing is to try to peak your condition and to time your condition so that you peak on that day.
You hear the cheering?
Yeah.
That's for our champ, Lenda Murray. She is gunning for her 3rd straight Ms. O.
I think she can do it.
Here's the Texas Tornado coming out next. Debbie Muggli. Also another lady that I really like a lot tonight. And you can hear the announcers saying from the USA. You really have to identify where these ladies are from. There's Shelley Beattie coming out because we have an international event going here.
Right. And that's what the Ms. Olympia is all about. It's the World Championship. The best of the world.
Italy, Claudia Montemaggi is going to come out. She's from Italy, but she's now in Venice, where a lot of these ladies like to gravitate.
I know. A lot of these people from Germany and Yugoslavia are from Venice now.
Here comes Nancy Lewis, also of California. There are a few, and we'll identify them throughout the evening, who are leaving Venice and trying to find a new area to train. It's kind of interesting. We're taking the other route. Here's Skye Ryland coming out. Skye has not been around much.
No, in fact, so far I recognize about 3 people.
Oh, I'll tell you who I recognize coming out next. Sharon Bruneau. I'm telling you, this lady is beautiful. Just flat out gorgeous.
Hey, Joe, you're married, and you have a child.
Diana Dennis, who I'm also very partial to, by the way. Yes. Diana Dennis is going to be called out next. There she is.
Yes, she's the godmother of my animals.
Is she? Yes, she is. Would she be proud of that fact?
She is.
I think I hear cheers for Anja Schreiner. Many people considering her a favorite tonight.
She's another one who's from Germany who now lives in Venice.
Diana Gimmler from Germany. A lot of Germans. Diana Gimmler is now being introduced, and she will stand side by side with some champions.
You know, Germany has always had a lot of very good competitors. There's Anja Langer, Anja Schreiner.
They've always followed American bodybuilding. Here's Nikki Fuller coming out to the stage to take her place. She's 26 years old. I think the average age is going up.
It is.
It really is.
And there's reasons for that.
Sue Gafner, another lady we've been following the last 2 years. Very cute, Sue Gafner.
One of the reasons why they're getting older, or the age is going up, is because it takes more years to put muscle on. And so the younger girls haven't had enough years to put that muscle on to compete with the big girls.
That's Audrey Harris, one of the big girls who just took her spot.
And we've been following her for a number of years, too.
Eva Sukupova has been introduced. Another reason that they're getting older is you can't stop Father Time. That's it. That's all there is to it. Sharon Marvel. Love the name, Sharon.
Plus, what people don't really know is it usually takes about 10 years of hard training before you hit your peak. So I quit before I hit my peak. Mm-hmm. So maybe I should come back and see what my peak could be.
Would you like to talk about that? Here's Laura Creavalle. She is now in her peak.
Yeah.
Peaks, and we expect big things from her.
And I think she's always been underrated. I've always thought she should deserve higher than what she's been scored.
There you have your 20 contestants for the 1992 Ms Olympia Bodybuilding Championship. They will be competing for over $100,000 in prize money tonight. And to think that in 1980, the first Ms O in Philadelphia, $10,000 was up for grabs. The curtain's closed, but what that means to us tonight is our first up on the stage. 33 years old, again. They're late. They're starting.
No, they're not late. They're just starting to hit their peak.
I see. How old are you now, Cory?
I'm 33.
I figured.
But I won't hit my peak yet, so I still have years to go.
She began training 12 years ago after suffering an accident in gymnastics practice. You're going to see some gymnastics routines here, I'll bet you, from her.
And you know what? You see on a lot of the gymnasts, they've got a large amount of muscle. And you'll see that all throughout the show. The people will look at the shoulders on her and the biceps and the flexibility. So that is a myth that bodybuilding makes you stiff, and you really can maintain your flexibility and your agility.
There are some things you can control. Then again, there are some that you can't, like just the build, the mass that you were born with, and the symmetry that you have. It's very difficult to control that.
You can help it by learning how to train smart, and learning if your proportion is off, you train those body parts where you need to build. There's a lot of little tricks you can do to improve your proportion through weight training.
1991 World Amateur Heavyweight.
May I comment on her physique?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
You like her upper body, you like her back.
I think she's got a great back and she's got great shoulders and biceps, but I don't think her symmetry is 100%. She's got a long back and a long waist.
Tissue-thin skin.
Tissue-thin skin, I have to admit that. But her legs are a little bit short, which gives her a little bit more of a squatty look to her overall shape. Each one of her body parts is great.
Gabriella Szikszay will now leave the stage with a semi-approval from Cory Everson. All right, let's move on to a lady that we talked about, gave you a run for your money in 1989, Sandy Riddell, 5'9", 160 pounds. She also is 33 years old. The problem is I don't think she's really taken that big step since '89.
No, I don't really know why. Part of it I think is because she does lack perfect symmetry, and I think when you get to the level of Ms. Olympia, if you don't have that perfect symmetry, you are not going to win the Miss Olympia because there's too many other people from worldwide competition that can offer both good symmetry, good proportion, good muscularity. Now Sandy's got good muscularity, although in this contest, I wouldn't say that her muscularity is up to par. I've never seen Sandy smooth before, and she's a little bit smooth, as you can see in the legs, in the glutes, and the hamstrings. Her upper body is still real muscular. Women always have a tendency to be able to have more muscularity in their upper body versus in their legs.
But the smoothness that we're seeing is a trend, and if everyone's coming in and going for it, it's all relative.
It is all relative, except it's only relative as far as when you get somebody on stage next to you who might have the same symmetry but is a little bit sharper in their physique. They're going to kick your butt in this contest.
Her triceps are second to none, though. She's always been strong.
Yes,
there.
And her shoulders, she's always been. She's pretty smooth, actually. Even in her back, you see a little bit of fluid in her back. Her abdominals are in good shape.
You know what she did since the last time we saw her? She went and married IFBB pro Mike Matarazzo. And we asked her how that affected her life and her training. These were her comments.
It's easier that we both live the same lifestyle. We travel. We don't have to punch into a 9 to 5 clock. So when he goes on a guest post, I can go with him. Or if I go on a guest post, he can come with me. So we don't have to have a job where we have to be responsible to show up every day. So it's actually perfect. It works out perfect. We travel a lot between the two of us.
They plan to start a family soon, and I can't wait to see the size of that baby.
Oh, no.
Sandy Riddell, considered a favorite for the Ms. Olympia title. What do you think?
I think she's a little smooth, but yet I have to say her
5'6", 150 pounds. She's 35 years old. And Cory, she's now, as many are, training in Venice.
She's been around for a lot of years competing, and every single year, Sandy improves. That's one thing I can absolutely say for her. Is every time I see her, she's in better shape, including in her off season, where a lot of girls get out of shape. Sandy keeps in good shape in her off season.
Yet, as long as she's been around, she had not placed as a pro until this year in the Jan 10. That's where she came in fourth. So it's been a struggle for her. She was on the verge of retiring before that competition.
Well, one of the things, too, is Sandy's a little bit taller of an athlete, and the taller you are, the longer it takes to put muscle on to fill out your frame. I had the same problem, although I started sports when I was basically in second grade. And I think that's probably what's happening with Sandy now. She's starting to fill out her frame. And obviously you can see that. You see she's got great back development, shoulder development, and her legs are really defined, and I've never seen them this defined.
Well, the judges are seeing just what we are seeing right now. Sandra Blackie performing and posing. Very dramatic poses as well.
Yes, all these girls so far, their posing have all improved. Years ago, I would see girls compete and try to do posing routines that really they weren't up to par to be doing. And I think people are now starting to maintain their own personalities on stage and not try to mimic another. And therefore, their posing is highly improved.
Well, I'm not trying to fluff you, but you had something to do with that during your 6 years as Ms. Olympia.
I think I overposed. I mean, I obviously did. That was always the big complaint, is that I did too much dance on stage. But you know what? I had fun.
You sure did. And that's what you hope these girls are having right now, too, because for many of them, they know they're not going to win the title, but you don't want to tell them that.
No.
You can't tell them that. There goes Sandra Blackie. Very good routine for Sandra Blackie. And she will now give way to Yolanda Hughes. Yolanda, we followed her before, 5'9", 150 pounds. She's 28 years old. We kind of have been seeing her at all the amateur contests. We've been watching her rack up titles, local Southern California titles. It was only a matter of time we were going to see her in the Mizzo.
That's right. And I remember looking at her a few years ago, too, where she always had the muscle thickness, but never quite the definition. And what I'm seeing here is that she's really starting to put it all together, where she has more thickness than anybody on stage so far. She too was a gymnast and moved very well. She's got a beautiful face. She's got beautiful symmetry. She's always a pleasure to watch. She's always had those really thick thighs.
Yeah. She's so animated.
Oh, yeah.
Look at this. That's a great
muscle control, and she's got so much personality.
Look at the lat spread.
It's a 747 out there.
Is that what that is?
Yes. It's got wings.
Oh, that's just a great pose.
She has got a beautiful physique. She's got, like I said, tons of muscle, which the other girls don't have as much muscle as she does. Look at her thigh, the sartorius and quadriceps. She's strong.
How much of this factors into the decision? I know they're prejudging. I know they'll have pose down.
As far as the posing,
Right.
Not much. I mean, they do judge the posing, but it's the physique that's going to win or lose the title. It's not the posing routine.
That was beautiful, beautiful.
I've seen you do that before, Joe.
Not in your dreams you have. Posing is what it's all about with Yolanda Hughes. And we, of course, talked to her about her posing routine and how important it is to her and then ultimately to her chances as Ms. O. Here were her
I
comments.
think for freestyle posing that the audience, they also want to be entertained. And I'm more of an athlete. I'm not just a bodybuilder. So I try and incorporate my gymnastics background into my freestyle posing. It makes it a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun, and I think she rates high tonight, Cory.
She does.
Uh-oh.
Now, is this part of her routine?
Oh, you bet it is. She's an actress right now.
She's great.
Give her an Academy Award.
She's great.
When we come back, our defending champion hits the stage. But first, this Ms. Olympia Fit Tip.
Nutrition used to mean the 4 basic food groups. Now, with all of the recent breakthrough...
She's 29 years old, and she's the Texas Tornado.
Didn't you say that Frank Sinatra's going to be here singing My Kind of Town?
He's a little too expensive for the broadcast. Okay. You know what, Muggli? She's a kindergarten teacher. This is the female version of kindergarten cop right here.
Doesn't Miss Muggli sound like a kindergarten teacher
Miss
too?
Muggli?
Miss Muggli? I have to go to the bathroom, Miss Muggli.
Please raise your hand.
You know what?
She's a well-built teacher.
A very well-built teacher, and I'm sure her students mind her very well.
Mm-hmm.
And Joe, you got to remember that these athletes out here have got gobs and layers of coloring on. So they're not damaging their skin by laying in the sun, but they are putting on fake coloring to get that nice tan look.
Well, that's a good point, because we do get a lot of comments from people, fans out there that wonder, how do they get that tone? This is a lady who finished second this year at the Miss International to Anja Schreiner and has that same kind of symmetry. And again, we will question and wonder, is this the direction the Ms. O is going?
She's also a good proposer, and what I'm very impressed about is the fact that all these women out there seem very controlled and not nervous. I think back when I was competing, and I was always so stinking nervous when I was on stage, and I mean, there's not any nervousness in any of these athletes so far.
Well, I don't know. Now, I think that they have a case of the nerves. I think they do a good job of hiding. But did you not find that when you hit the stage, you kind of forgot that part of it and just...
Are you kidding? I was so nervous on stage. No way.
This is coming from a 6-time winner, folks.
I was nervous.
So what does that say about Debbie Muggli? All right, next up, the champ. What more can we tell you about her? Well, we do have more. Take a look.
The last year of my life has changed drastically since winning the Miss Olympia. It's just been a pleasure and a challenge, because I have to now not only train hard and diet hard, but I have to also learn the business of the sport and learn to represent the Miss Olympia title as best I can. Stronger than ever. The way I prepared my music this year was very different, because a lot of the voices in the music is my voice, and it's me actually talking, and it's friends in the gym. So it was really an experience, and it was worth every minute of it. I'm a very strong athlete, I have a very strong mind. I've been in sports for a long time. It's going to be very difficult to dethrone me.
And now, I can't wait to see this. Lenda Murray will do her posing. She's from Detroit, Michigan. She's 5'5", 145 pounds, 30 years old, and she's a 2-time Ms. O. this is your specialty, repeating Ms. O's.
It is, and you know what else she did? She came in and won her very first year.
And the first thing that I see here is she comes in leaner.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. And she's always had a lot of muscle, as you can see. Her muscle bellies are real thick and full and large, but she's got excellent proportion. She's a phenomenal poser. She's got great stage presence. She's a performer. She's got a beautiful face. I love this girl.
She's got the whole package, gang.
Yeah, she's a package competitor, that's for sure.
You know, lost in her resume, because we all think of her as Ms. Olympia now, is the fact she was a cheerleader for the USFL's Michigan Panthers.
Well, can't you see her as a cheerleader? Look at her. I can see it.
I see that as little to no job security, actually. It didn't last very long. But yeah, to be a cheerleader, you got to be kind of a showman, a showgirl.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Definitely. Look at her definition, though. I mean, she combines muscle definition, muscle shape, muscle size, and symmetry.
Do you ever wonder what it would have been like for you to compete against her? I mean, that's a great matchup, gang.
Maybe they would have had the first year, there would have been a tie. What do you think?
And forgetting she's still only 30 years old.
Oh, you're trying to say I'm old because I'm 33?
I'm not. The facts are she's 3 years younger than you.
You know what? You're in major trouble after this broadcast.
But folks, Cory can hit that stage and compete right now. I'm out of it. This is an excellent routine by
Very,
Lenda
very
Murray.
good. And she uses lip syncing and acting. Look at her. She's just really into it. And she doesn't look nervous either. And I'm jealous because I was always nervous.
Well, she's singing. She's flirting. What she's doing, she's flirting.
She's got great deltoids. Absolutely phenomenal.
And the crowd around us loves her. She is, folks, a crowd favorite.
But
That's
you know
a
what?
fact.
One of the things is when you're a favorite and when you're on top, all of a sudden people don't want to see you win anymore.
What would you know about that?
I know about 5 years of that. After the second year of winning, all of a sudden people don't want to see you win anymore. So you've really got to just be tough. You've got to be tough as nails.
That's the crowd, but I don't think that belongs in the judges category. I truly believe that when you're the champion, you got to work harder. Is she confident?
Yes, absolutely. Oh,
She's going to make a phone call now. Do you want to pick that up? Oh, it's a collect call from Lenda.
Oh, the collect call. I'm not accepting. You know, I'm surprised that she doesn't get criticized for doing too much type of dance versus posing, because that's what people always criticize me for. And she sort of got the same type of stage presentation as I did.
I think every year that changes. I think if they set the tone of theatrics and it's a consistent thread, that they let it go.
Well, one of the things, too, is as you're winning, you need to challenge yourself. And challenging yourself is not only in your training and your body, but it's also in your presentation.
Is it me, or do they give Lenda a little more time? It feels like Lenda's getting all the time in the world up there. I'm not complaining, though. Look,
beautiful pose. Beautiful pose. Well, you know, she's the champ. She deserves a little bit more time.
Oh, she's showing it all, too.
And one of the things being a champ, you've got to be 10 times better than the champ to be thrown the champ.
And we were talking about confidence just a second ago.
Well, there's a confidence.
Or overconfidence. Well, we're going to let Lenda Murray talk about confidence.
It's difficult to tell because you're standing side by side, you know, and it's hard to see the other competitors. And by the time you've reached the end of the 12-week period, you're a little bit delirious and you don't really know what you look like anymore. So I think I'm confident. I feel I've done all I can do, so I feel like a winner regardless if I come home with the title.
Great attitude. I think you're delirious from lack of food, huh?
Yeah. And just from being overtrained and tired.
So look at her look. Look at this. She's working the audience. You can tell that's coming from her heart, huh?
Yes, and I have to mention one thing. One of the things that Lenda and I have in common is we both almost lost our bathing suit top. Well, Yes, well, we're posing.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
We're going to have to hear part 2 of that story after this break because some of the top contenders for the title are up next. The Ms. Olympia Bodybuilding Championship from Oregon. Worked very, very hard this year. She wants the title.
Absolutely. I just did a photo shoot with her a couple months ago, and she was a little bit heavy during that photo shoot, and I'm totally 100% impressed that she got into this type of shape. I always thought that it was going to be between Lenda Murray and Shelley Beattie, and I thought that for the last couple of years, and she's got the best hamstrings. Take a look at her hamstrings. They're just absolutely phenomenal.
I know the hardcore fans realize, and I hope our viewers are aware, she is hearing impaired. She cannot hear her own music very clearly. She has to feel the beat, and they just asked the audience not to applaud so she can feel the music. Also happen to know she's an American Gladiator.
Being a gladiator right now, it hasn't bothered me, hasn't gotten in the way of my training at all, because it was 1 month of filming, that was all. I started like 7 months ago for training for this competition, so, that if I start early, it's easier. The gladiators didn't get in the way. Publicity was good, just started on television, and I think people are starting to know who I am, and so my confidence is better.
Good for her. Now living in Venice, she and her fiancé, John Quinlab Muscle Meal Romano, make a great team, and she's put on a great show right here, hasn't she?
Yeah, Shelley Beattie, you are all the way through.
Coming up next, Claudia Montemaggi. And this is a lady we've also seen over the last couple of years. She too is living in Venice. She is 5'8", 140 pounds, 29 years old. Like many serious bodybuilders, she's gravitated to Muscle Beach.
A lot of splits in this contest so far.
Well, let's see. Any gymnastics in her background? No, but classical ballet.
Oh, there we go. Another lip syncer too. A lot more dramatics and theatrics in these routines these days.
She has conquered Italy. Twice she's been Ms. Italy. So
she's conquered Italy twice.
Right. So she's come to the United States to conquer the ultimate.
She's got nice shape and symmetry. Her proportion from her shoulders down to her waist. She really does. She's put together very nice.
You might remember last year on our broadcast, she was involved in the Mizzo and she finished 9th. That's a good start for her first year.
Oh, definitely is. She moves real well. You can tell she's got a dance background.
Well, let's just face the facts. Not only are these women cut, but they're now dancing, stretching, splitting, flipping.
Splitting. That sounds painful.
They're doing a little bit of everything.
Uh-oh, here we're going some splitting action here.
One of those slow dramatics. But look at the form, though.
But you know what? This is really a good pose to show you the symmetry.
The symmetry, absolutely.
And the width of the shoulders and the small waist. And the crowd loves this pose, too. A little adjustment of the suit top. Experienced that before.
Sexy little bang of hair.
Joe, you're married.
You've reminded me twice. She is beautiful. An outstanding performance by Claudia Montemaggi. I'm going to be asking you where you rank some of these ladies when we come back. After all, that is your job here tonight.
Joe, you know I don't like it when you put me on the spot like that.
Sorry. We will come back. But first, another Ms. O Fit Tip.
Building better machines, the goal of both exercise equipment manufacturers and bodybuilders. And today, more
Olympia Bodybuilding Championship. Joe Fowler and Cory Everson with you, and making her first appearance at the Mizzo is Nancy Lewis, 5'3", 125 pounds. She's 29 years old, and Cory, the number that sticks out is 5'3". Is that too short to win a Mizzo?
No, definitely not, unless I'm competing against you.
But when you think about it...
I'm just kidding about that comment.
When you think about it, Goliath,
yeah,
really 5'3" is short.
It is. For, not if your proportions are good. If your proportions are a little bit off, and you're 5'3", it's going to make you look short and squatty.
Right.
If your proportions are absolutely perfect and you're 5'3", you'll look like you're about 6'2".
And are her proportions on target?
I think she's a little bit long-waisted and her legs look a little bit too thick, therefore a little bit squatty. But her proportions are not bad at all. I think she needs to be a little bit leaner, and that would help her proportions. Because see how big her shoulders and her biceps are and
Yes.
her upper body?
Yes.
I think that would give her a longer look if she was a little bit smaller and leaner. It would make her arms look longer.
I even bring the issue up with all due respect to Nancy and to Laura Creavalle, who also is a bit shorter than most of the competitors, because I wonder if there is a prejudice there with regard to size. That's nice.
There's
right
not
there.
really a prejudice, but if you have a person who's 5'3" standing next to a person who's 5'8", and they both are equally proportioned and equally muscled, you know, it's obvious the person who's 5'8" is going to tower over the other person and just be more majestic looking and probably take the title.
Nancy did well this year at the Ms. International. She finished 5th and 2nd at the Jan Tennis. She's had a great year.
She really has, and it's hard to compete in more than one contest a year. To keep that diet up and the training intensity and regimen, it's tough.
Like many of our competitors on the side, or actually for money, she's a personal trainer and a nutritionist. And that's these ladies earn a living and also compete. Let's keep it going. Skye Ryland from Shreveport, 5'5", 132 pounds. She's 27 years old. And just like Debbie Muggli, she is a grade school teacher. 5th grade, in fact.
Oh, she's got a little bit older kids.
Yeah. My teachers never looked like this. I gotta complain right now. Never looked like this.
Oh, is that why you're going back to school?
I'm gonna start in 1st grade all over again.
All over again.
She said that once upon a time, a Cory Everson signed a copy of a very special book for her and got her all excited about working out.
You're kidding. Somebody signed my name? Is that legal?
No, Cory Everson signed her name.
I'm just kidding.
And it wasn't to a check. This was to a book, and this got her all excited. And this is a product of her effort over the last few years.
Excellent.
You're seeing it on a stage.
Excellent. You know what is so exciting for me is when I get people to come up and they say, oh, one day I'm going to compete in the pros, you know, and then 5 years later you end up seeing them in the pros. And that is just absolutely exciting for me and satisfying to see that people have taken it from point A to point Z.
Can I be critical and complain about our calves?
Please do.
Okay, well, I'd like to complain about them. I think
Okay.
they're a little small.
Okay.
But why don't you tell me? Do you think so? Do you agree?
Yeah, I do. You know, granted, she's 27 years old and still hasn't hit her peak, but she's got a lot of muscle and she's got very good proportions. But once again, your calves do help your proportions. And if you're missing a little bit somewhere, it's going to throw your proportion off. So maybe that's one thing she can work on a little bit for next year.
And the year after, and the year after that, she'll have plenty of opportunities. This, in fact, is her first pro competition.
Well, just standing, being my first special show, just standing up there was different and not as much comparisons. I guess not being known as much or whatever. But, I wasn't compared as much. So just standing there was tough and staying tense the whole time.
But I also take that as less pressure. When you're not known as much, they don't expect you to do as much.
For sure. And that's a nice feeling to have, is to have no expectations and just do your best.
Because the expectations come from yourself, your family, your workout partners. That's Skye Ryland Theater in Chicago and the Ms. Olympia competition. Cory, we continue now with Sharon Bruneau. She's from Vancouver. She's 28 years old. She's 5'7", 154 pounds, and she is sexy. And I know I've said that of a couple of others. Trust me, my wife can beat me up. But this lady is flat out sexy. And I don't need to tell this. Just take a look. Watch her. I like her chances.
This is the first time I've ever seen her, and I didn't realize that she was that big of a woman, 154 pounds. My heaviest I competed at was 147, so she's way bigger than I was.
I think she's got a great mix of what I believe they're looking for now. Femininity and muscle mass.
Uh-oh, Joe Fowler, the judge.
Not thickness.
Look out. You know, she does. She's got nice shape. She's impressed me, you know, just seeing her walk out like that she has nice shape. She's a little bit weak in the legs, but it's consistent with her physique because she's longer and leaner.
And what she lacks in the legs, she makes up with those abs.
Yes.
Very long lines, very animated routine here, too. So she takes advantage of her strength, what she has.
But you know what? The arm movements are a plus and a minus. It's exciting to watch, but it doesn't really give you time to focus in on her physique, on what her arms look like, on what her bicep development is, and what her tricep development is. And I learned the hard way by getting criticized for doing too much of that. And here she goes now, holding a little bit more poses longer.
And she is demanding the audience to lock their eyes on her.
I think she's up for a Pepsodent commercial with those white teeth.
Outcast her. The white teeth are part of her total package. We talked about that with her.
I think I have a type of physique that they're looking for right now, mainly because of the shape that I do have, and that's only thanks to my dad. I had probably messed up worse than anybody could in previous contests, North American being one of them, by meaning my preparation for contest. And as we all know, it's trial and error, learning what your body responds to. So the only thing that really got me this far was my symmetry and my shape, and that is what they're looking for right now, is more of the feminine symmetry and shape, but I lack certain departments of the muscularity. So that's what I'm really working on each year, is try to get more density and more thickness in the muscle.
She really comes across as if she feels she has her finger on the pulse of what the judges want.
She does. She's very intelligent, and I guarantee she's going to become a major champion.
Next up, a veteran, a survivor, Diana Dennis.
Into my family.
5'8", 150 pounds, Diana Dennis competing in her 8th Ms. Olympia.
Yes, and she's always been known as being the absolute best, most dramatic poser. I cry when I watch her pose. She is so good. And one of the things is that the judges know that she's this fantastic poser, and so they expect so much from her versus a person who just comes in their first time out. They would totally impress the judges with their posing. It's totally expected that Diana Dennis has to come up with the best posing every single contest she's ever in, and that's a hard thing to live up to. But
She is a performance artist.
Yes, absolutely. And you know, she always comes in such good shape as far as definition, cuts, lean muscle mass, thick muscle, and I'm always surprised that the judges score her down.
Look how beautiful that is.
I know, look at the muscles in the side of her thighs. She's great.
Well, I consider her top 5 yearly. It amazes me how year in and year out, it does fluctuate with her.
Yes. And I think part of the reason, too, is because she's been around for a long time, where the judges really are used to seeing her. They're used to seeing the shape she's in, and it doesn't impress them as much anymore because Diana Dennis means a great poser and great shape.
Right. She may not win, but this is a classier contest with her in it.
Oh, my God, yes.
And I remember back in 1989, we were touring in the then Soviet Union.
Yes.
And she posed and performed at Red Square in front of hundreds of Soviets who had no clue. She did this number there, right there.
Yep.
And my jaw dropped. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. She was so free with her posing.
She's a great poser. I remember in 1984 when she beat me.
You were beaten once?
Yeah, when I was an amateur, she beat me.
That should be in a trivia book somewhere.
And she's really, really good.
Yes, she is. Always in shape.
Always commands the stage. She always does great entrances. People always try to live up to Diana Dennis's posing. They copy her poses, but nobody can do it except for her.
And you know, she started competing at the age of 32. So she was training years before that.
In fact, she's been training for
almost 20 years.
Isn't that amazing?
Isn't it? But somewhere along the line, at the age of 32, she decided, I'm going to compete now.
Well, like Albert Beckel started when he was, 54? Started competing? And the suit color is beautiful.
Oh, she doesn't miss a beat.
No, she's a total professional all the way through.
And we enjoyed her so much. Diana Dennis from the Windy City, the 19...
Posing routine, excellent posing routine, so that there wasn't so many apples and oranges. They were all apples out on stage. And that is very unusual because usually there's much greater range and variety on stage. So they were all pretty even.
It's going to make for a more spirited competition is what it's going to do.
Much more close competition. It's going to be tough.
We've seen the defending champion, Lenda Murray. I don't think she disappointed.
No.
Right.
No.
What we have coming up now, though, gang, are some of really, truly the top contenders for her crown. These are the ladies that have brought the femininity package, along with the muscularity, to the show, and we're anxious to see what they can do. So let's turn it around and get back to the stage. Our next competitor, Cory, is considered a threat to the title. Anja Schreiner, she's 5'7", 140 pounds. And as Diana Dennis is the oldest competitor, Anja is the youngest at 25.
Oh, just a baby out there. She is a threat to the competitors because there's sort of this controversy of what they're looking for, muscle or a smaller frame with muscle, but just smaller muscles.
Right.
And she really does exemplify that. She's got great symmetry. She's always had great symmetry. That's something that she was blessed with. Look at her symmetry right there. Broad shoulders, small waist, sweeping legs, nice shaped calves. Her upper body is in proportion to her palms are nice and dark from the coloring. But she's beautiful. She's well-spoken, and she is a smaller, symmetrical person.
And she's always been this way, by the way. You know, this has been her for a number of years now, and whether it's bodybuilding moving in that direction, I can tell you that she has not moved in the other direction.
Well, one of the things you can't move the other direction, if your genetic makeup says you're going to be slimmer, smaller, symmetrical frame, you'll never be bulky and have large muscles. So it's not even really like her choice. That's her body that's designating the way she's going to be built.
Anja upset Laura Creavalle at the very important Ms. International this year, and I think she was sending a message. I think she was trying to tell everybody, I'm ready, especially you, Lenda.
She's ready, and Linda's ready, and Laura's ready. They're all ready. Now it's just going to depend on what the judges feel is what the world is most ready for.
I think most women can relate to what Anja Schreiner's all about. What I mean by that is that I think women say, that look is attainable for me.
It is, and I think that those women's men would love for their women to have a body like that.
Very sleek.
Sexy.
Dramatic.
Beautiful.
Svelte.
Gorgeous.
Okay, folks, she's a favorite.
It was rather tough for me to know that I'm one of the favorites to go in the show because a lot of people do have a lot of expectations, and I always take one show at a time. So it's always an absolutely different ball game from show to show. You can't expect to place high because you want just a show. So I have no predictions for tonight. Of course, I would love to, and everybody would love to, but I hope I can just enjoy it.
So she's not going to predict. Maybe you will.
I think she'll score really high. The little Barbie doll out there.
Very nice. She takes in the moment, and we continue our German segment. Anja Schreiner gives way to Diana Gimmler, also from Germany. 5'6", 150 pounds. She's 28 years old, and I've not seen her ever before.
Viele deutsche Fräulein.
That's just what I was about to say.
There's a lot of German women in this contest. No, I've never seen her before either. One of the things that the German women do very well too is the nutrition, and very rarely do you see a German woman come in that's fat, not a shape.
All right, you just hit on a key word, fat. I want you to tell us novice people, us eaters out there, how many grams of fat will a lady like this be taking in her last month? As we see a beautiful routine, by the way. How many grams of fat a day will a lady like this be taking in the last month in preparation for the Ms.
Very few. In fact, the last couple of weeks, maybe the last 12 weeks of contest preparation, you're trying to eliminate fats from your diet, as you should be trying to eliminate fats from your diet in all of your life. I mean, whether you're competing or not competing, fats are horrible to take in and they're bad for you. And especially for bodybuilders that are trying to show definition, we, in our contest preparation, basically eliminated zero. We ate zero fat. And of course you get some fats in your diet, but you're really trying to eliminate them. Fat is a horrible thing. Fat busters. Which reminds me, I'm going to have a little talk with Mrs. Fowler on your diet, Joe.
Oh, darn, Cory, and we're running out of time. I can't talk about my diet. First, the historical feature of the IFBB and how it came to be.
When you think of the history of bodybuilding, two names seem to always come up: Ben and Joe Weider. These two brothers have spent their careers building up the image of the sport around the world, in the gym, on the stage, and in the press. In 1946, they formed the International Federation of Bodybuilding, an organization Ben still heads. In 1965, Joe created the Mr. Olympia contest, an event that helped make superstars out of Arnold Schwarzenegger and reigning champion Lee Haney. Joe Weider's introduction of the Ms. Olympia contest in 1980 gave women's bodybuilding much-needed credibility, and today it remains the premier women's bodybuilding event in the world.
I hope this event will inspire each and every one here and throughout the world to reach the absolute best they can possibly be in the realm of physical fitness and self-improvement.
155 pounds. She's 26 years old. Again, another one of those heavy-duty competitors. She's 155.
You know what? That's absolutely amazing, because when I was competing, I was always the heaviest person on stage, not the biggest muscle, but the heaviest, and now I'd be like a munchkin. 147-pound munchkin.
Oh, but hard. Very hard.
Yeah.
Now, this lady, there's a good shot by our cameraman. A pan up, that gives you the opportunity to talk about her physique. Yeah,
she's got great symmetry. Even though she's 150-some pounds, I think she's still a little bit light for her height. She's still a bit lean in the legs, but she's showing good definition.
She should show good definition. She weight trained with an entire football team.
Oh,
in college.
So did I.
Oh, I don't want to hear any more about that.
Seems like a lot of the competitors have the Emerald Cup Championship. I mean, that brings out some pretty classy, hardcore competitors, because I've seen the Emerald Cup as a title for a lot of these women.
Are they having to show specific body parts? I mean, is there a certain amount of body parts they have to show in this routine?
They don't have to, but what they're trying to do is show their best body parts, for gluteus. And what they do is they're showing their biceps, their triceps, their chest, their abdominals, their thigh, and their back, and they try to focus in on their best body part. Oh, there's those glutes again. Nice pose.
A hop, skip, and a jump.
That was always one of the problems with me competing, was when they gave you a little stage like that. I mean, I cruised around the stage like there was a football field in front of me, and when they give you those little stages, it's really hard to go up and down the stairs.
She competed in the Jantana Classic this year, and really didn't have a heavy slate until this year. 1988 Emerald Cup, the 90 Nationals overall in the Jantana.
That's a pretty pose.
Am I being too picky? But her top, her
is pulling over. Yeah,
it sure is.
I'll tell the world out there a little secret, but a lot of the girls actually use a sticky tape or glue to keep the tops down, and sometimes that moves over in the lining of the suit shows.
Mm-hmm. It's just that it draws the eyes to it and it takes it off of what they're there for. Nikki Fuller did a very good job. Sue Gafner's next. You see the stats: 5'4", 130 pounds. She's 28 years old. She says, I had no athletic background at all.
You know what? That's nice honesty for you. Usually everyone's like, oh, I was an Olympic athlete and I did track, gymnastics, swing, badminton, track and field, blah, 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 blah. I love it.
She just said that 7 years ago, she read Hard Bodies, the book Hard Bodies, and decided she wanted to trim her chunky lower body.
Yes, Hard Bodies was by Gladys Portuguese. I've seen Sue compete for a number of years now, and she gets better every single year. She's always lean. She's always in shape. One of the signs of the professionals is that the women and men always maintain good shape because you're guest posing year round and you're competing in a number of contests versus the amateur level where sometimes people get horribly out of shape.
A little push-up action. We saw her last year at this time at the Ms. O. She finished 10th.
And 10th is a good number. I mean, you're competing, don't forget, against the best people in the world. So you're only seeing 20 people on stage, but to get to that point, you have competed and competed and competed, and you're definitely the best.
That puts it in perspective. It really does. Just terrific abs.
Yeah.
So
They look just like mine. Fat chance.
She'll face the camera as much as she can and show them off.
I used to have abdominals.
Cory, you're talking like you're a has-been, that you've fallen apart, except the fact that you're still a rock, okay?
A boulder.
Right. What are the judges looking for? Well, we asked Sue Gafner about that.
I think I'll be able to make a better assessment of that after the finals tonight, and I know exactly where the sport's heading because I still think that it's in a little bit of a growing pain or a growing trend right now. But I think the way that it's heading is positive. It's positive for the women. It's positive for the public and their perception of the sport, and I think it's good.
There is change in the air in women's bodybuilding. You can sense it.
Yes, and this change seems to be the never-ending story.
And it's good. Sue Gafner completes her routine. Very nicely done. It gives us the opportunity to fire up our cameras and take you to the exhibit halls adjacent to the Arie Crown Theater. It's kind of a convention atmosphere going on there. Everybody who is anybody in this sport has a booth.
That's right. What you're seeing is people selling clothing and vitamins and equipment. We see some of the champions out there, Barry DeMay and Mike Christian signing autographs. People selling videos. Tons of people out here.
They're having a great time. We hope they're old, Cory. And she's from Florida.
And she's a police officer.
How about that?
I love it.
I'd say her size comes in handy.
Oh, I think it probably does. She also has a degree in art, which is something very close to me, so I respect that a lot.
She placed third in this year's Jantana. And I like her upper body. It's wide.
She always has had a lot of upper body size, and also she's got good leg thickness, but she also has always had a problem with showing extreme amounts of definition. And when she's competing against people like Diana Dennis, it really shows up.
You know, she claims she has a slow metabolism. That must be a curse to a bodybuilder.
You know what? It absolutely is, and that's probably why she's a little bit smoother than some of the other girls. It's so hard when you have a slow metabolism because you're training so hard, so many hours, you're hungry, and then you can't eat what you want to eat. So it is really it's a tough call when you have a slow metabolism. But did you know that muscle mass increases your metabolic rate? Joe Fowler, did you know that?
You too are a bodybuilder who's a teacher. We have several teachers here tonight. Yeah, I knew that.
Yes, I see that.
It's less dramatic, less theatrical with her posing here. She's more interested in getting down to the nitty-gritty. Here are my body parts.
Yes.
Here's what I have to offer.
Yes, and that's what she's doing too. And then her personality on stage. Not everybody is going to be a theatrical poser like Diana Dennis or a real goofy, fun poser like Lenda Murray.
Lenda Murray, goofy.
Well, yeah, you know her telephone answering service that she had.
So this is Audrey's way of expressing herself.
Yeah, and everybody, like what you'll see, has their own personality on stage.
I get the message, though. It's loud and clear. Showing off her abs, her arms.
All she does when she pulls somebody over for speeding, she just flexes that bicep and they just whip out their license.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, officer. You bet. She gives a whole new meaning to the wordage, show me your guns.
What?
Your arms. Police officer.
Oh, got it.
All right. Oh, the Sphinx.
That's a great pose.
It is. It really is.
I haven't seen many real unique poses in this contest like that Sphinx pose. Usually each each athlete sort of has their own pose, and Diana Dennis, of course, has her own poses, but I haven't seen that many varieties.
Maybe a case of the nerves, but then again, this is the most prestigious championship ever. She has a right.
You know, she moves well. You know, when she does her body weights and those types of moves, she's very smooth. I think she's a little tiny bit wide in the waist, or maybe she just has very narrow hips, which, you know, doesn't give her the type of hourglass shape.
Audrey, like most of these ladies, has to split time between working and training. We talked to her about that.
Training for a big bodybuilding competition was very hard, and working a full-time 8-hour job, and sometimes it carried on to extended hours, so that made it very hard. I wasn't getting enough rest because we're working a full-time job, so it was quite difficult.
And when you start training, you immediately can add 1 to 2 hours of extra sleep you need on top of what you normally get.
Oh, good. Before we take another step forward, let's take a few steps back and look back at this great competition known as the Ms. Olympia.
It all began on a summer night in August of 1980. The Ms. Olympia contest was born. Created as the sister contest to the popular Mr. Olympia, women's bodybuilding had evolved to the point where a professional championship was demanded by frenzied fans worldwide. On that opening night in Philadelphia, it was Rachel McLish who made history and took home the first title. The following year, the sport's first upset took place when Finland's Kiki Eloma unseated the defending champion. Virtually unknown in America, Eloma was the European and amateur world champion when she stunned the bodybuilding world with her defeat of McLish. But a true champion never gives up. And in Atlantic City's Playboy Casino in 1982, McLish came back to defeat newcomer Carla Dunlap by a slim 2-point margin in the closest Ms. Olympia ever contested. But 1983 was another story, and Carla Dunlap came in bigger, sharper, and more confident. Having just come off 2 big wins in the Caesars Cup and the Pro World, Dunlap was not to be denied, and the 1983 Ms. Olympia honors went home with her. 1984 marked a turning point for women's bodybuilding with the emergence of American Cory Everson. On a cool November night in Montreal, Cory won the first of 6 straight Ms. Olympias and rewrote the definition of a perfect woman's physique. For the next 5 years, a succession of top-notch women would challenge Cory. But every year, Cory would improve and amaze the bodybuilding community. In 1985, it was Mary Roberts who would present the challenge to no avail. In 1986, Claire Furr attempted to unseat the champ, but had no better luck, and once again, Cory looked better than ever. By 1987, Cory was virtually untouchable. Her improvement was staggering, and she was now being referred to as the Schwarzenegger of women's bodybuilding. 1988 was no different. Anja Schreiner made a valiant attempt, but again, Cory dominated the competition and added another Olympia title to her collection. 1989 marked the end of the era. For the first time, Cory did not improve, and after winning the title by the smallest margin of her career, retired as the undefeated queen of women's bodybuilding. 1990 marked the first time in 6 years without Cory in the Ms. Olympia, which opened the door for a newcomer to hold the title for the first time since 1984. On November 24th, in New York's Beacon Theater, all the great athletes were competing, such as Bev Francis, Laura Creavalle, and Jackie Paisley. But in the end, it was newcomer Lenda Murray of Detroit, Michigan, who became the 5th woman in history to win the Ms. Olympia title.
From the Windy City, the 1992 Ms. O will return with more hard bodies right after this. She is from Czechoslovakia, 5'4", 132 pounds. Cory, she's 32 years old. And you had a stat on her previous weight that was astounding. What did you tell me when we were in the commercial?
97 pounds.
She once weighed 97 pounds. Now she weighs 132.
I think I weighed 97 pounds when I was about 4 years old. You know, don't they eat a lot of borscht in Czechoslovakia for training?
I think
For carbohydrates?
whatever is available to them, they eat. And in this particular case, Eva spent the last couple of years eating everything in front of her.
Okay, ask me to comment on her physique.
Well, I can do that for you. She's wide in the waist, which really hurts her lats.
Yes, very good.
Right. And I'd say a little soft in the legs.
Yes, very good. You're hired.
But her heart is in it. She's animated. She's in her first pro contest, and it's the Ms. O. This is as good as it gets for this lady. She's loving every minute of it.
Yes, absolutely. In fact, you were so good, we may even hire you to do commentary on ESPN.
We'll switch sides right now. You got it.
You know what she's got to concentrate too on? She's got one of those power stomachs where she's not fat, but she's got her stomach, protrudes, especially when she breathes. She's got to really concentrate on sucking her stomach in. You see a lot of power lifters with it. We call it a power gut. It's a horrible thing.
Really and truly, though, competitors are literally trying to suck their stomach in when they're out there. Is that the way they try to give themselves the final edge, the final look?
No, only certain people, if they have that, like when she breathes, how her stomach
Yes. Oh, that was a
expands.
graphic shot.
Yeah. And those types of people who have that type of structure, they need to pull their stomach in a little bit more.
We're talking about Eva Sukupova. And now we're going to talk about a lady we believe can win this contest, Laura Creavalle. Let's get to know her a little better.
I've noticed a lot of change in bodybuilding since I've been involved. I've been training now 9 years. And the longer someone's trained, the muscles are different. The longer you train, you have more muscle maturity, therefore you develop a larger physique. I think in bodybuilding, they still look for the same things. They try to find the muscularity with the femininity. A lot of people think there's a controversy there. Some people like a very muscular woman, some people like a very feminine woman. But I think it's possible to put both of them together. Every year, my physique has improved year by year. And I think my biggest competition, will be Lenda Murray, but I can take her.
Laura at 5'4", 140 pounds, 34 years old. Cory, she's coming of age. This is really a major turning point for her. Do or die, if you will, accept that cliche. She really needs this.
I thought probably for the last 4 years, in fact, last year I competed, I thought she should have been way up there. In fact, she could have won that contest in 1989. She's got excellent symmetry. As you can see, she's always in shape. She's got the best abdominals I've ever seen, and she's got the thick, full muscles. Some people, when they diet and they get cut up, they get real stringy and lean and lose their muscle thickness and the healthy look to their bodies. But look at her. She just looks great. Little waist, nice sweeping thighs.
You talked about the 89 episode when she finished 6th.
Yeah.
In 90, she finished 3rd, and let me remind people that she was behind Lenda Murray and Beth Francis. She was within a few points.
Right.
So, 3rd can be deceiving. She was right there.
I think her physique is good enough to win the Ms. Olympia title, and now what she's starting to show more is confidence and sort of a role model type attitude, what she expresses in her articles in magazines. But she's grown up now. She's taken that step, and now she's ready to hold a Ms. Olympia title.
You commented on her abs. She's also always had big legs, and that is really half the battle there.
Big, not big, sweeping. She's got beautifully sweeping legs, little joints, and she sort of is in a category of her own. Right there, you see that thigh sweeping to the side?
Yes.
Not many women in tonight's show have shown that. In fact, ever. She's a step ahead of most people in the thigh department. And her presentation is beautiful. She's never impressed me 100% in her posing. Tonight she is. She's posing with class, with dignity, with elegance, total confidence.
She's been a busy lady, not only competing, but she went and married Chris Aceto, one of bodybuilding's foremost nutritionists, and together they moved out of Venice and moved to Maine, a 3,000-mile jaunt, and last time I checked, Maine was not the hotbed of bodybuilding, so naturally we wanted to know, Laura, why did you guys move to Maine?
It's a lot easier since I moved to Maine to train because I haven't got the stress of all my competitors in LA. And also it's very quiet and very relaxed lifestyle I have. I live right on the beach. I get up in the morning and there's horses running on the beach. And if I'm not happy there and at peace with myself and enjoy my training, I can't be happy anywhere in the world. So I think it's made a difference in how I look physically and how I feel mentally.
A little bit of peace of mind.
You know, I agree with her there because I always avoided training at the gyms that had bodybuilders in it. And so she's 100% right on with her move.
Well, do you see an improvement from last year's Ms. O competition in Laura?
Absolutely, without a doubt.
That's what I wanted to hear. The 1992 Ms. Olympia will continue right after this. 5'3", 135 pounds. She's 28 years old when she won the middleweight international.
Right. He is in great shape. He's got to finish it with a total package, and that's with a nice posing presentation we have to move forward, fortunately.
Very nice. Wow. 20 hard bodies. We saw them all. We enjoyed them all, didn't you?
Yeah, they were all in good shape.
And now it's in the hands of the judges representing 7 countries and countless years of dedication to this sport. They will determine who will return.
That's right. I'm telling you one thing. It's not going to be easy. This is a close contest. There's not one person that really stands out like a sore thumb.
And we want you to come back for the Ms. O right after this.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. If you like what you saw, please subscribe, share, leave a comment, hit the like button. It'll help this channel grow. Also, if there's a topic or a subject you'd like me to cover that hasn't been on here yet, send me a note. Maybe you'll see it here next week. I also want to take this time to send out a huge thank you and appreciation to my Patreon members that are helping make this possible. If you'd like to become a Patreon member for as little as $5 a month, you'll have first access to all the videos, news, tips, and photos. Plus, I'll be doing 2 lives a week. So come join me there. It'll be fun. Also, I want to thank everyone that's been joining me at SharonBruneau.net, my website where you can find full galleries of never-seen-before photos and videos and classics, plus my fitness, nutrition manuals, tips, and videos. So either way, I look forward to seeing everyone. Peace out. Keep flexing. Love and light. I appreciate everyone. Thank you so much. Till next time.